discover an extraordinary taste from Wales. But before we do, let's look at the heritage of this most unusual brand. And first discover where it is made. Wales is situated in the west of the United Kingdom and constitutes some of the most beautiful countryside within the UK. It is here, in the Vale of Clwyd in the county of Denbighshire, that Collier's is produced. There are some images for you to see later in this DVD. To the south of the country is an area known locally as the Valleys, where for hundreds of years men have worked in hazardous conditions mining that black gold known as coal. These men were called colliers. From here, both Welsh coal and Welsh mining expertise was exported around the world and across the United States. The mining environment created a stark contrast with the surrounding countryside, some of which can be seen today, even though mining ceased in Wales during the 1970s. Throughout this period, consumers, as today, valued cheese for its nutritional properties and value. But of particular importance to Collier's wives was the taste. Their husbands worked all day underground, so lunch not only had to sustain them, it had to provide real flavour to cut through the dust in that harsh environment. Today, that taste can be found in Collier's powerful Welsh Cheddar, a unique cheese that reflects the integrity and preference of those bygone days. Collier's is a premium product that is positioned firmly in the growing, vintage, powerful, extra mature sector of the cheddar market. It is also a taste that is winning more and more awards from international judges at leading shows such as the International Cheese Awards, the Royal Bath and West Show in England, and the World Cheese Awards. Every effort is made to maintain Collier's extraordinary taste, which results from a fine balance of savoury and slight sweetness derived from a particular recipe. Also, Collier's is only made at one creamery. This allows us to operate regular and stringent grading procedures throughout the maturation period. So there you have it, an extraordinary taste combined with a radical presentation and strong heritage. Enhance your own recipe dishes with this wonderful taste, or simply enjoy Collier's with crispy bread or crackers, and of course a glass of your favourite wine. Now select from the following options.
Welcome to Recipes Using Collier's Powerful Welsh Cheddar. I'm Matt Tebbett, and today I'm going to show you a really nice, quick, simple recipe called a frittata, which is an Italian sort of open omelette using this beautiful Collier's Powerful Welsh Cheddar and some other bits and pieces, some mushrooms and some Parma ham. Now this kind of embraces two very different groups. We've got the Italian omelette and we've got the Welsh Cheddar, but bringing them together creates a wonderful, wonderful dish which you can eat at any time as a snack or as a main meal throughout the day. So very straightforward ingredients again. We've got the Parma ham, we've got some big filled mushrooms or portobello mushrooms. I've got the Collier's Powerful Welsh Cheddar. We've got some potato in there which has been diced and blanched off just for speed really. We're going to colour that up in a minute. I'm going to finish it with a little bit of béarnaise, which is a little bit chefy and you don't need it, but it just adds an extra zing. If you didn't want to do that, you could just chop up some tarragon and put that through. So first things first, I'm going to dip the mushroom on. We need to cook this in the oven or under a grill just for about 10 minutes. I'm just taking the core out there because you can't eat that, it's a bit tough. Into there, a couple of slices of garlic, not too many. Okay, a little bit of salt, a little bit of pepper. Keep the skin on the mushroom. Don't be inclined to peel that because all the flavour's in the skin. It also keeps all the moisture within the mushroom. So a little bit of salt, and then very simply, in a pan, I'm going to put a little bit of oil and butter in here. Not too much, just a little knob of butter, a little drop of oil, like so. The mushroom will absorb a lot, so don't be inclined just to keep pouring and pouring. And onto there a little bit of tarragon, because as I said, that's the herb that we're going to finish with. Just stick it under that butter there so it doesn't catch. Under the grill or in the oven for about 10 minutes until the cap starts to fill with liquid. Okay, so while that's going on, we can do the potato. And as I said, diced potatoes being blanched just for speed, really. We're just going to colour that off in a pan. So, hot pan, bit of oil, and then in with the potato. Now they need to cook down and colour up for about sort of 10 minutes until you get a nice sort of golden colour on the top of them. So after 10 minutes, pull the mushroom out, and that's what you're looking for, that nice amount of moisture in there, because you can over dry these mushrooms very easily, so make sure there's a good amount of liquid still in there. Let that rest until it's cool enough to handle, because then we're going to slice it up and put it on the rest of the frittata. When it's cooled down, just lift the mushroom out of the pan, just slice that nice and thickly. Try and save any juice that you can, because all that's going to help to flavour the frittata. Nice thickish slices. Take the garlic off if you want. I tend to leave it on. Lose that little bit of tarragon, it's done its job, and there's more going to go on at the end. So just slot it back into that pan now, just to keep it warm, and as I said, keep any juice that you can. Okay, so for the main body of the frittata, 3 eggs, whole eggs, because it is, as I said, it is an omelette. It's just sort of Italian in its descent. A little bit of that, a little bit of salt, a little bit of pepper. Purists would use white pepper here so it doesn't discolour the eggs. Not too much salt, because again you've got that powerful cheddar going in there. It is naturally very salty, so you don't need a lot of extra. And then we take that over to the potatoes, which are colouring up nicely. Okay, so in the same pan as you've coloured up the potatoes, we're going to add the eggs. And as soon as the eggs are added, we need to start flicking it around. It is a very quick cooked dish. In goes the eggs, in goes the cheese, and then we're going to flash it under the grill just to sort of souffle a little. So, working quite quickly. In with the eggs, like so. Just move that around and make sure you've got enough of the egg and the potatoes encased. Just start moving the egg away from the side of the pan and bringing it into the middle, and that's going to give you this layering effect for the frittata. Now on top of this is going Collier's cheddar. Now this, as with a lot of the recipes I do, it's a very, very simple, straightforward dish, not many flavours, not many sort of conflicting flavours. So all the taste and the depth of the flavour is coming from this cheese. You could do it with other cheese, it just wouldn't be quite the same. So just working away from the edge, pulling it in. Now the middle is set, and the whole frittata is coming on nicely. I just want to melt that cheese and souffle the eggs a little under the grill. And that'll sit in there, just keep an eye on it for about a minute or two. So, keeping an eye on it, that's the sort of effect you're looking for, that slightly souffled look to the eggs. It's not going to be runny as a traditional French omelette will be in the middle, because it's been flashed, it's that much more compact and dense. But that's what you're looking for. So, mushroom on top, like so. Some really, really good ham around there. And this will feed 2 pretty generously, I'd say, or 1 if you're particularly hungry. That you don't need to cook the ham as such, because the heat from the omelette or from the frittata is going to warm that through. And then we're going to finish with a little bit of béarnaise, which is simply a hollandaise mixed with some tarragon. I'm going to put some Dijon mustard in with this, just to give it a little bit of kick. Just a little bit of that over the top. And as I said, you don't have to be using béarnaise. It is a quick snack. If you didn't want to do it, you could just put some tarragon sprigs on it and it'd be equally as good. But using the béarnaise, it does kind of elevate it to more of a, say, a dinner party dish, I guess. So a little bit of tarragon on the top, not too much, it is strong stuff. And there you go, Collier's cheddar and Parmesan frittata. Welcome to Recipes using Collier's powerful Welsh Cheddar. I'm Matt Tebbett, and today I'm going to take you back to the 70s, as it were, for a bit of sort of retro look on the cheese fondue, classic cheese fondue. And for this, I'm going to be using, obviously, my powerful Welsh Cheddar. I've got some Dijon mustard for a bit of kick there, some white wine vinegar, some white wine, and some corn flour to thicken it. And then we're going to serve it with a whole array of lots of different bits and pieces we can dip in the cheese fondue, which we can vary. We'll discuss that in a bit. So what I need to do, first of all, is bring everything up to temperature on the stove. So a bit of garlic, crushed, like so. I'm going to mix some white wine with the corn flour, slake that together. That's going to thicken the fondue. So now into this pot, along with the garlic, goes a whole heap of this very, very strong cheese. And it's this award-winning Collier's Cheddar that gives this dish, this fondue, its distinctive taste. So into this cheese goes the corn flour and the wine. And it sometimes settles on the bottom, so make sure you scrape it off and get it all in there. It's very important, otherwise you get too thin a fondue. Okay, white wine vinegar, just to cut through the richness of the cheese. And a spoonful of Dijon mustard. Again, just a little bit of sharpness, a little bit of depth to the dish. Onto the heat, bring it up to a simmer for about 10 minutes, constantly stirring, just so everything's melted, and then we'll transfer it into the fondue bowl. So after about 10 minutes, 15 minutes, this is what you want to end up with. This nice sort of silky, glossy look to the fondue. It's thickened nicely, and now it's ready to go in the pan. And the nice thing about using this Collier's Cheddar is that when you cook with it, it doesn't split, it doesn't go greasy, and it all holds together in a delicious looking cheese. So then into the fondue pot it goes. So, and then drop it on top of the flame. I've lit that earlier. That's just going to keep it warm enough to keep it molten. On with the top, and then you've got these little spears that we can just jab in the bits and pieces as you go. So for this one, I've got some different breads. I've got some large caper berries, got some ham, baby artichokes, and I thought after all that, it's quite rich, it's quite heavy. We've got some figs, which you could either eat on their own or even dip those in the cheese. So there you go, that's my Collier's cheese fondue. Hi and welcome to Recipes using Collier's powerful Welsh Cheddar. I'm Matt Tebbett, and today I'm going to show you how to do this historic Welsh dish, Welsh rarebit, using this distinctive cheese. So what we basically need, very, very simple, very few ingredients again, but using this Collier's cheese is going to set it apart from a regular snack into something quite luxurious and something you want to tuck into any time of the day. So for this I'm going to need some ale. I'm going to need some Worcester sauce, some Dijon mustard, some egg yolks to enrichen the dish, some English breakfast muffins, a little shallot there for a bit of crunch and a bit of sort of acidity, and then finally the Collier's cheese, which is going to set it apart. So all I need to do, first of all, is to toast the muffins. Now toast them on both sides, because you don't want the bread to be soggy once everything else goes on, so that be enough. Under a grill, keep an eye on those. Then while that's going on, into this bowl, basically chuck everything. So we've got the cheese, let's start with that, nicely grated. Okay, into there goes the shallot, a couple of shallots, some Dijon mustard, and you can play around with this recipe. If you don't like Worcester sauce, if you don't like Dijon mustard, a little bit of English mustard, or leave it out. But it does give it that kick. A little bit of ale, and then the egg yolks. like so. Give it a mix up. Now a little bit of salt, because that cheese is quite naturally salty, so you don't want to overdo it. A little bit of pepper, but again you've got the Worcester sauce, you've got the mustard, so you don't want to kill it with too much spice. Check the muffins. Okay, just give them another minute on the other side. And as I say, I mean, this really is a very basic, very simple snack that you can prepare at any time of the day. In the restaurant, we serve it at the end of a meal. You could serve it as a starter. And by using this cheese, like I said, it just elevates the whole dish into a sort of a luxurious feel. So we're just going to check the muffins. They look like they're done. Flip them over. And then very simply, take your mix, which is wet, but it's quite sort of dense, so it's not going to run all over the show. Be very generous with it. Doesn't matter if it's sort of oozing over the side. Never get too upset about those sort of things. But just be generous with the amount you put on, so you've got a nice, deep, rich layer of cheese. And once, you know, if this is the sort of dish you're worried about your weight, you're worried about what you're eating, you're worried about the fat, then don't do it. Don't sort of skimp on the ingredients, and don't cut down on the cheese. There's just no need. There's no point. Okay, and then pop them under the grill just for another sort of minute, maybe 2 minutes, just until they're black and blistered and charred, and then pull them out. Okay, and after about 2 minutes, just check them, and that's what you want. Nice and golden, slightly blistered, slightly charred. Couple per serving. Garnish if you like with some salad leaves or whatever you want. You don't really need it. A little bit of chutney maybe. And there you go, Collier's Welsh Rarebit.